Explanation about the third season of The Witcher. The Witcher's third season's second volume is now available, and we have all the solutions. The Witcher's final 3 episodes of Season 3, called Volume 2, debuted recently, and were jam-packed with action. Battles, significant deaths, the introduction of new characters, and revised objectives. The season's conclusion resembled a story reset in many respects, eliminating things that were no longer essential, and giving each of our key characters a fairly distinct trajectory for not only the upcoming season, but the entire series. Additionally, it offered Henry Cavill, who played Geralt of Rivia for 3 seasons, enough of chances to continue doing what he does best. He does really get to murder a lot of people. The writer's strategy for writing Cavill out is, in some ways, the largest unsolved mystery moving forward because this conclusion didn't really feel like an end. However, that is hardly the only significant query the season left us with.
The third season has a lot of interesting twists and turns.
What happens in The Witcher Season 3? In Season 3 of The Witcher, our heroes Geralt of Rivia, Yennefer or Vengerberg, Ciri and Jaskier, finally united and on the same page, try to find a way to protect Ciri from the many people who are trying to get her, while also working to discover the identity of the mage secretly working for Nilfgaard. In Volume 2 of the season, these stories and the plotting of the many political factions on the continent come together, with a conclave of all of the mages at the island of Thanedd turning into a bloodbath after the elven queen Francesca Findabane's Scoia'tael show up working for Nilfgaardian Emperor Emhyr var Emreis. Geralt ends up with his leg and back broken by Vilgefortz, the mage working for Nilfgaard, and is brought to Brokilon Forest to slowly recover.
It was a difficult time for me, but I got through it.
Ciri, meanwhile, is accidentally teleported halfway around the continent to a desert, where she confronts visions of her distant ancestor, Falka. Like her, Falka had powers as a result of her elder blood, was pursued by many and abandoned by those who said they would protect her. But she chose to use her powers to vent her rage at her situation, leaving the streets running with blood. She advises Ciri to do the same. In the desert, Ciri also meets a unicorn, whom she dubs Little Horse. This is great. Little Horse guides her through the desert. Later, Ciri calls upon fire magic to save Little Horse's life, but then renounces her connection to magic entirely, afraid of the possibility of turning out like Falka.
It was a difficult decision, but I had to do it.
As for Yennefer, after the coup and the subsequent suicide of her beloved mentor and mother Tissaia, who blames herself for everything that has happened, Yennefer is forced to lead what few mages are left. Meanwhile, though Vilgefortz fails to convince Ciri to let him become her teacher, he also steals a book that seems like it will give him the ability to travel in time and kidnaps Istred, who knows much about Ciri in this book. And Cahir, upon finally catching up with Ciri, begs her to kill him for the pain he's put her through. But before she can decide what to do, more Scoia'tael show up.
It takes time to think things through well.
What happens at the end of The Witcher Season 3? So many things. With the help of Yennefer and Milva, a human archer who lives with the Dryads of Brokilon, Geralt slowly heals. Having heard from Jaskier that Ciri has been captured by Nilfgaard and is now in the hands of the Emperor, Geralt sets out with Jaskier and Milva to rescue her. Meanwhile, Yennefer joins the few surviving mages, Triss, Margarita, Kira, and Sabrina, in a mission to rebuild their order and destroy Vilgefortz. Elsewhere, Prince Radovid comes home to pack his things, because he's fallen in love with Jaskier. But when his brother King Vizimir is murdered by an assassin sent by Philippa Eilhart, Radovid suddenly finds himself the king. Also, Fringilla reveals to Francesca that Emhyr had her baby murdered, thinking that will convince her not to trust him. And it does. But she also no longer wants anything to do with Fringilla. And finally, Ciri, having been seized at the edge of the desert by a group of dirtbags who know the Emperor is looking for someone of her description, ends up teaming up to escape with a group of young outlaws called the Rats, including Missile, who she met in episode 303. In the process, Ciri kills a human being for the first time. She is horrified, but then ends up joining the Rats and taking the name Falka, which seems like a pretty bad sign. Is The Witcher Season 3 done? Yep. As of July 27th, all 8 episodes have now been released. Book spoiler time. As a series of novels, The Witcher saga has 2 halves. In the first, our little family of characters, Geralt, Yen, Ciri, and their pet bard Jaskier, fight to come together and then to stay together, while lots of forces try to pull them apart. But in the end, they're all pulled apart. In the second half of the Witcher saga, Geralt, Jaskier, Yennefer, and others desperately try to find and rescue Ciri, while she tries to figure out how to get back to them. And it is a long and difficult journey. The coup at Thanedd and Ciri's disappearance in episode 306 are really the end of part 1 of the Witcher saga. The final 2 episodes begin part 2, which is told in the novels Baptism of Fire, The Tower of the Swallow, and The Lady of the Lake. They set Geralt and his company on their quest for Ciri, Yen and the other mages on a quest to find Vilgefortz. Meanwhile, the ending also sets up Ciri for giving up and giving in to the darkest part of her with her new friends, the rats. Were there any surprise cameos or new characters in The Witcher Season 3? Yes, there were a bunch of new characters. First, there's Taryn, aka False Ciri, Francis Pooley, the half-elven novice mage who was experimented on by Vilgefortz and freed by Geralt. She looks a lot like Ciri, and at the end of the season, having been previously left in the care of Annika, Catherine McCormick, a druid who knew Geralt's mother, somehow Taryn is presented to Emir as the real Ciri. Then there's Milva, Mengerjang, the human archer who lives with the Dryads in Brokilon Forest and has spent the war bringing fleeing elves to safety. From the moment she meets Geralt, she ridicules him. "There's very weird energy between you two," Jaskier tells them. But eventually she joins Jaskier and Geralt in the search for Ciri. We also meet the Rats, a group of young outlaws who Ciri joins at the end of the season. Among them is their leader Kaylee, Fabian McCallum, and Missile, Christelle Elwyn, who Ciri ran into briefly early in the season. When will The Witcher Season 4 be out? Soon. I'm kidding. Nothing has been announced about the release of The Witcher Season 4, or the also seemingly greenlit Season 5. Given the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes going on, most work on the series has pretty much been halted for now. It was 2 years between the COVID-affected Season 1 and Season 2, and 18 months between Season 2 and Season 3. Given the strike, I'd expect 2 years is more likely. So I'd say get comfy, Witchers, because we may be here a while. But once again, it seems like there is going to be another Witcher mini before then about the rats. Thank you for watching us. Follow our channel. Subscribe.